Yeah, so hopefully the things we added love rum, and you drinking rum. We didn't substitute rum, did we? Just
No.
kidding. So there's our first drink. There's that tweak on a rum old fashioned. How's everybody like that so far?
So good. So spicy.
Spicy. Which rum did you use?
That white rum.
Oh, you're the ginger.
Yes, ginger,
Yeah.
sir. That's it.
Spicy. Yeah,
Yes.
that makes sense. But do you like it? The ginger one, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I love it. And I love ginger.
Oh, well, that also makes things easy. Like if you use things you like, even if you mess it up a little bit, you like all the things. Anybody who's made the drink to spec, any comments, questions, concerns?
It's very nice. It's very easy to drink. It's refreshing. I like it a lot.
I'm done with it already. Can we make another one?
You can.
This is nice.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the booziest one we're going to make today. We try to step them down, but the idea when we're doing these is that there's a drink in here for everybody, but everybody can appreciate all of them. If we're really lucky, there'll be serious disagreement later on. Like some of you will say the first one was the best, some of you say the second one, some of you will say the third one. Because some of you, even if you can appreciate this, are going to think, it's a little boozier than I want. It's not for me, of course. And some of you are going to say the last one, maybe that's a little too much going on. I want really just rum in a glass. So we'll see. Hopefully this is something for everybody. Okay, so our next drink is this, what do we got going on? The Nog. Okay, so we went cream heavy on this class. It's going to be great though. Remind myself, excellent. So we have half an ounce of banana, half an ounce of orgeat, ounce and a half of rum, a full ounce of cream, and 3 dashes of the Angostura cocoa in, and 3 dashes on top with some nutmeg. So there's a few things going. I'll walk slowly. First, the syrups. I generally speaking put sweeter things in first and drier and boozier things in last for a couple of reasons. A, I want to clean my jigger out with the acids from fruits and such if I'm making a fruit drink. So there's a half an ounce of the orgeat. Then we've got banana. This one's fun. We just made this recently and hadn't done one before, and we're really happy with it.
Can I skip the egg?
I do. Can you? It's free country. I don't have an open one. Oh, I do have. I have an open one already. You can. You will of course make a very different drink. So, do you not like eggnog normally?
I don't eat eggs, and so
You don't eat eggs. Then you should definitely skip the egg.
Yes.
Okay, half an ounce of banana. So tropical flavors, of course, are always going to play well with rum. The problem with rum drinks historically is that because so many of these like Caribbean fruits and sweeter notes go so well with rum, people would make unbalanced drinks. They wouldn't just be attentive to the flavor, or they would be attentive to the flavor, but not the balance. So you end up with these really sweet drinks, which aren't really what we're looking for. This is going to be a rich drink, of course. It's a nog, but you know what I'm talking about, the 80s era post tiki, make it red.
Can I just confirm we have a half ounce of orgeat and a half ounce of banana in so far?
We do. That is correct.
That's it. Okay, great.
Okay. And this is a full ounce of heavy cream. It sounds like a lot. kind of because it is. But it's gonna be delicious. And we're gonna do 1.5 ounces of our rum. Now in the before times, when we could all be in the same room doing this with this many different rums would be really interesting because it would make a lot of different drinks. Like the resultant beverages everyone's gonna make are strikingly different.
Are you using Smith and Cross on this one too?
I am just gonna use Smith and Cross today, but I have other options. This is a Hamilton 151 overproof, which is amazing, but that's a little more than I'm ready to jump into. And that's a good 151. It's dark, it's funky. This is Gosling's that one of you were talking. Really easy, 80 proof, notes of coffee and cola. Pretty straightforward, but not nearly as interesting. If you're feeling froggy, it's Plantation Pineapple. And one of my favorites, Plantation Jamaica. So I might choose, if I was writing a list, I would probably use different rums for these different drinks. I'd try to figure out what exact rum I wanted to showcase what we're looking for. But in the purposes of this, I want kind of to prove that you can do a lot of different things with the same spirit.
So Shannon, question.
Yes.
Since this is the holiday time, tell us about the history of eggnog.
The history of eggnog. Oh, I just looked up Flip. I believe Nog and Flip are related because they both had the egg. And I believe the Flip started, at least, in old like English taverns. And it started with ale and sometimes with like a cask sherry. And they would put egg in and heat like with a poker or some other, or just cook it until it started to froth or flip. And that was the Flip. And Flip also has an egg in it. And I don't know where the phrase nog comes in, but I'm sure it's a northern holiday beverage. Do you know?
No, I don't.
Okay. The cow or cocoa. We got 3 of these in. So for those of you substituting, do you have bitters? Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. So here's the thing. If you look at the way I'm making this drink,
Yum.
if you don't use the bitters, the drink's probably going to be way too sweet. So it's kind of important we use the bitters. I'm going to use a little punch cup like I was stepping up to the flowing bowl. To drop some ice in there. And one more time, we're going to roll.
Did you already put the egg in there?
I didn't.
Oh, okay, we didn't miss it.
No, you didn't miss it.
We often think we have to shake it, you know, like in the movies.
Well, I shake a lot of drinks. And I would shake like an egg white drink because I'm using the egg white for the foam, right? But if I'm just putting yolk in there and I want to nog specifically, if you think of all the best eggnogs you've ever had, one of the important points of it is that tongue weight, is that like feel in the mouth. When you shake a drink, what you're doing is forcing air into it, which makes the texture lighter, fluffier, which is the opposite direction we're trying to go for this drink.
You want that rich mouthfeel and not the egg.
Exactly. Okay, sorry. So what I did was I rolled and then I strained the ice off and I strained the beverage, the drink into this glass. So now I'm going to take this, dump the ice, and get the egg. I'll do that over here. So there's my egg white, and I don't want that. Well, if you have some in there, don't worry about it. But really, that yolk was what I was after. Then I would suggest, you can probably hear me doing it, washing your hands. And I'm back. Over there. Okay, so there's my egg yolk. And I'm going to combine. Now you can shake a bit. Make sure that yolk is off the bottom. And just roll. We're just trying to integrate. I'm not worried about over diluting because I've removed the ice. I got it cold and then got the ice out of the way. But now I want to make sure I integrate it, but I don't let it warm up too much. Now we'll just take a peek. If you ever make ice cream sometimes, or if you make, I prefer ice custard, where I'll integrate egg yolks into my ice cream. You know how to look to make sure that there's no yellow streaking so that your egg is integrated. Oh, yeah. Now, like we said in the recipe card, 3 drops of orange. The drop is not a dash. 1, 2. Come on, you can do it. 3. Sometimes you got to be patient. Wait for it. And then nutmeg. Nutmeg's great. They sell like powdered nutmeg and stuff. I recommend never buying that because it comes in these perfectly grown implements right here. And I think this costs like 90 cents. So like you can always have fresh neg. Now don't be cheap with the nutmeg. You really want to get it on there. It's one of the things, at least for me maybe, that remind me of nutmeg as a kid, or excuse me, eggnog as a kid. That and the booze. Kidding.
Oh. Can
Now you should just smell that.
Oh.
Now you're on.
So Shannon, Carrie's the bartender tonight, and I'm the question asker.
Okay.
She can never get her glass to seal when she does an egg drink.
Okay.
So with the
Well-
glass and the mixing.
Can she get it to seal when she's doing other drinks?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. That's not that unusual. Make sure you get a good, nice tap, and then this is the home trick. Go over to your oven or wherever you keep those your towels, your kitchen towels hung. Take one of those and wrap it around the shaker, and that way you don't get egg all over you.
Okay, Shannon?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no secret. Got it.
No secret. Well, the secret is you just take it, go straight up and down if you can, and just hit it.
Right.
Also make sure when you're going to use, this is a mixing glass, looks like a pint glass, but it is a mixing glass. And this is the mixing tin, the large side mixing tin. Sometimes people use the little side mixing tin. The thing about, if you're going to use one of these, and that's my preference, make sure you get a mixing one that has got a tempered rim. So the top of here is tempered so that it's less likely to crack.
Okay.
Because you don't really want to be doing this if it's not, if it's likely to crack.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, so you asked me back about eggnog. You're right. The original was egg and grog
Okay, yeah.
from England, and
Mhm.
that's how it derived. But the first actual references, according to the dictionary, was in the New World in 1775. And believe it or not, George Washington was a proponent of this big time, mixing a pint of brandy, a half pint rye whiskey, a half pint rum, Jamaican rum, quarter pint sherry. So in the
Sounds great.
South, the rum got displaced with bourbon, and that's how the current eggnog came about.
Well, when I make eggnog, I usually mix them. Like I'll split the base when I make an eggnog between whiskey, rum, and cognac.
Well, you're very presidential.
Well, I'm not quite the distiller that he was, Um, but I do like to drink. Okay. How do we think about our nog?
Oh,
We should
delicious.
probably take a minute to savor that. And any questions? Let me rinse out a couple of my bar tools and I'll be right back.
Hey, Lee and Spencer. Is it snowing in New Hampshire?
It didn't snow today, but there's still snow on the ground, yes.
Oh, good.
Dr. Sullivan, while Shannon was making that, did you say, Alexa, tell me the history of eggnog?
We and I have a close relationship. Let's just say it that way. It's hard on rounds because you got to pipe it in your ear, and when you're doing rounding.
Hey, Keith, is Chris around?
She is, but she thought this was for the adult heavy time drinkers, so I can bring her into the conversation.
Definitely.
Okay, so you're being
Summoned.
You're being summoned. Exactly the word.
Hey, Shannon, a drink question.
Yeah?
Can you make a batch of these beforehand, for example, and what's the shelf life in a refrigerator for something that uses raw egg and heavy cream and all?
Well, it all depends on the proof. If you're not stingy with the booze, Dan. No. Yes, you definitely can batch this. Remember, it's got a thickness to it, and if it gets too cold, it'll firm up. So you might have to take it out and shake it a bit. But yeah, just the same way when you go to your grocery store, there's eggnog in the cooler, although I don't want to know what they keep in those to keep them from going bad. I prefer alcohol as a preservative. It's working for me.
Shannon, I wonder if we could substitute something for the egg, an egg substitute. I know
Yes,
I'm substituting.
You can. So first of all, you're almost there with having that much cream in the drink.
Right.
But secondly, there are a few substitutes. You can, let me think. So is it a dietary thing?
Yes.
Okay.
It's I just grew up without eating eggs, so it's hard
Okay. I'm not trying to talk you into it. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't steering you to something else you couldn't drink. So yeah, basically it's a thickener. What egg is doing is adding fat and richness to the drink. So anything that you can do to add one or both of those is going to work. I believe you can use, I was supposed to look this up. Like there's a vegetarian substitute for eggs for cocktails, which is, I think it's it's not juice, but the water that garbanzo beans are in. Is if you use some of that, it'll foam. It'll give you kind of a textural thing, but that's a better substitute for egg white than egg yolk.
I'll research it, Shannon. I don't want to distract the rest of the class.
It's okay. I think it's going to take everybody a minute to get through nog.
Okay. I can Google it or Alexa it or whatever.
Yeah, but anything that you like, that you think you can fold in, that's going to add richness,
I was thinking
but not too much
butter.
flavor.
Do you think melted butter or something?
No,
like
it's actually ghee or something like that would be great.
I have plenty of ghee. Okay.
Where's your address again?
I make my own, so I have good stuff.
Oh, nice. Do you use like a coffee filter, or do you use how do you filter it? How do you cut the solids out?
Yeah, I just use a very fine sieve to filter out the whites. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that would work. I mean, think about hot buttered rum. All those drinks carry butter is definitely something people have and continue to use.
So one of the substitutes Google says is silken tofu. You can, yeah,
Clearly never something I've tried.
or a mashed banana, which would go very,
Mashed banana.
yes.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
Bartley said aquafaba.
Aquafaba. Okay.
That's right. That's
love it.
yeah.
Yeah.
the white,
Okay.
yeah.
I
Thank
could never remember that, but it's just water. It's like fava water. That makes sense. Okay, how are we coming along with that one?
We're all done.
Cheers, delicious.
We weren't sure on the first drink, so we've gone to our third batch already, just to make sure we got the
Oh,
ingredients. right.
Okay, I like it. Consistency. You're just really making sure that it's working. I like it. So the next one is hot banana. We figured it might be cold in New Hampshire, and we might as well make a hot drink. So this one's hot banana because, well, you know, it's hot and tastes like banana. First thing you need to do is get a mug hot. So I just
Yes.
poured hot water from an electric kettle. That's a lie. Claire just poured hot water from an electric kettle into this mug. And just like when you're making a good cold drink, you saw I pulled these glasses out of the freezer. Or if you're seen the old bartender's trick of putting a little ice and water in a glass while you're making the drink and then dumping the ice and water. It's important
Eat the glass.
to temper the glass to the temperature you need it to be. If you're making a cold drink, if you want the drink to stay cold, putting it in a warm glass is a bad idea. It'll temp up. If you want a hot drink and you put it in a cold glass, it's going to lose its heat. So you want to, this is like, I'm going to sound like I'm beating a drum here, but it's key. Okay, so this one is going to be really straightforward. And if you'll notice, the recipe is 3/4 of an ounce all the way down, right? Super simple. Oh yeah. So we're going to build this in here. So I really want to wait until this is nice and the right temperature.
Is that because you're not shaking it, Shannon? So it's okay to build it in the glass you're serving?
Yes. Generally speaking, if I'm not shaking it, I can build it in the glass. Now I didn't muddle in the glass because I like my glasses. And they're, you know, they're thin rimmed. And if you muddle, you can just break the glass. So don't do that. Simple.
This is just like chemistry.
Okay, here we go. That's nice and warm. We're going to dump that. 3/4 of an ounce. We're going to start with the sticky stuff. Hot banana. I'm going to believe there's banana syrup in that. All the time when we use our syrups, we reintegrate them.
So it'll come as no surprise to you that I'm substituting pomegranate instead of banana.
Pomegranate. Okay. So
Pomegranate.
pomegranate, dry vermouth. Are you going to have you have the
rum.
cream?
Yes,
and
I
the
do
rum.
have cream, yeah.
Pomegranate and dry. Okay. I think you're going to have something very different than everybody else, but it's probably going to work.
It was Claire that suggested these substitutions.
Got it. Got it. She just copped to that. Yeah, well, that probably explains why I thought they'd work.
2 times hot water.
Okay, this is our banana. I got another bottle. Because there we go. Okay.
That's one. Yep. Another.
Here's banana. I'll do cream next. Like I said, 3/4 all the way down. So
That's fine.
3/4 of the Bianco. I've got a big bottle down here, but this is the thing. And last, but certainly not least, rum. Now, I'm only putting 3/4 of an ounce of rum in here. A very good reason to use a stronger rum. In fact, I might switch gears here and switch. This is the perfect time for a flavorful 151. I don't want to use just more because the mix of the mix isn't going to be right. I'd rather use stronger and less. Oh yeah. Let's try. Oh yeah. Okay, and then your hot water. It says 4 ounces, so that's going to be pretty high up there.
No,
Stir, and then bitters. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna sneak this guy right in here, this little orange there.
Yep.
And then 3 dashes of the cocoa bitters right on top. And it smells delightful.
It does.
Thumbs up.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thumbs up. It's delicious.
Oh yeah.
It's a good thing we don't have far to drive.
Yeah, it's good. That's what we were thinking. You know, I've made this suggestion to a couple of groups. We do a lot of these for private events. And I'm like, if you want to do 2 drinks, that's fine. We can do less if you want. And they're always like, nah, who's driving? I'm like, okay.
It is delicious even with the pomegranate.
How was the pomegranate?
It's delicious.
Ah, yeah. That pomegranate grenadine is really good. And yeah, it's going to get along just fine with the rum.
So Shannon.
Yep.
One thing I don't think we've ever asked you directly is, I know you came from the School of Crunkleton, but how did you get involved before that?
I was the general manager of Crook's Corner and a good friend of Gary Crunkleton before, and as at Crook's, I started at Crook's on March 1st of 2000. And it was pretty much the cocktail renaissance was just getting some little dits and dots of national press. And I started to be interested in it. I'm a wine lover, a sommelier, and the idea of making wine sounds terribly hard. But I do also like spirits and drinking and making things. Just like many of the front of house staff, maybe I would have stayed in the kitchen if I could afford to live on what people make in the kitchen. So you get on the front of house and then you're in service. And then when the craft cocktail movement starts, all of a sudden you get the idea you can do both. You can be in direct service with the customer, but also have a hand in kind of more creative, like, or directly creative side. As far as the School of Crunkleton, Gary Crunkleton is a dear friend of mine. We were briefly business partners for less than a year, and we're still friends. And I worked at his bar 3 times, only when he was out of town. Like, I would run his bar for him when he was on trips. I never actually worked there otherwise.
I see.
Any questions about rum?
I mean, what are some good standard rums to stock in your cabinet all the time? And I suspect they can stay outside. You don't have to refrigerate it.
You don't have to refrigerate anything but wine. So like vermouth is wine, so you're going to want to refrigerate it. So also syrups you're going to want to refrigerate.
Sure.
Bitters, not so much.
Not so much.
So,
Right.
so these bitters are, let me see, this is 28, this is 48. So this is 96 proof. This is less, but it's still 56 proof. So they're all higher, and they're basically, most bitters, besides Fee Brothers, most bitters are alcohol solutions. So you're basically trapping flavors in high proof alcohol, and that way it's stable and it stays. That bottle of Angostura you've had in the back of your closet since the 70s isn't going to hurt you. Syrups is a different story. Vermouths, if you just treat them like wine, you'll be far happier. Back to the rum question. There are a lot of styles of rum, just like we alluded to when we were talking about plantation. The fact that they would have single island rums to express the differences is really interesting. And depending on what you're looking for, I have a few at my house and even more at the bar to choose from, because they give you different things. So like that Barbados rum, that Plantation Barbados we're talking about, it's got that really delicious, like buttery golden tone, easy going. Goslings, like I said, is coffee and cola and really easy. That Mount Airy, North Carolina. No, that the Appleton Estates, they're really famous for like hints of what they call hogo. Hogo is rum slang for really funky. It comes from a derivation of like high rot, because some of the rums, especially like Jamaican rums, were fermented before they were distilled in dunder pits, which are these pits that they've been using so that it's almost like yeasts and mothers, like that base flavor is still there. They just kind of add more stuff. Well, this is outside open air pits in Jamaica. It could take on some olfactory sensations, but in the 70s and 80s, rum makers tried to rob rum of like all of its nuance to compete with vodka. They were very effective of robbing it of all its nuance. But fortunately now, rums with individual character and flavor are coming back. I happen to love this Smith & Cross. Now, we talked a bit about proof. Remember that proof is literally, America's the only one that uses proof anymore. Forget about the legacy of it. And for America, proof literally is twice alcohol by volume as a percentage. So if this fluid is 40% alcohol by volume, it is 80 proof, right? And this is 57%. That is Navy strength. Anything labeled as Navy strength, whether it's gin or rum, is always 57% alcohol by volume or 114 proof. It's important to realize when you're making a drink what the proof of your spirit is, not just so you don't get grandma too tipsy, but it has a definite flavor difference. Like the higher the proof, generally the drier the spirit is going to make your drink. So it really affects the balance. But also the difference between, if Gosling's made 100 proof, and I think they do actually make 100 proof rum, ostensibly the difference between their 100 proof rum and their 80 proof rum is how long they left the tap running. Because all of these spirits are, especially 80 proof spirits, are distilled to a higher proof originally, and they are proofed down to whatever you see on the bottle, right? So this probably came out of the still north of 130 proof, and before they put it in the barrel, they probably proofed a little bit, and then certainly after, before they bottled it, they proofed it down some more. They're proofing it down with distilled water.
So the maximum coming out of a still could be what, 160?
195.
195.
Or higher, yeah. Like
Okay,
pure
Dan, there
rectified
you
spirit.
go.
So
Okay.
vodka, let's talk about vodka for just a second because it's a good spirit to talk about when you talk about proof. So vodka by American law is a colorless, odorless, flavorless spirit that is distilled to no less than 190 proof or 95% pure ethanol.
Wow.
Almost every vodka you see, can you pass me a bottle of Tito's? Almost every bottle, there are some exceptions. A lot of them, like Smirnoff and a few others, have a 100 proof line, but their base line, all this, including the most popular, biggest names you've seen, are all 40% or 80 proof, which means by law,
Watered down.
at one point, this was 95, and now it's 40, and the difference is water.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other, that's the math. So
Yeah.
most of what you're paying for when you buy Tito's or any vodka in America is distilled water. Some very expensive bottled water.
But perhaps your body can't handle, 150, 190. So
Well, it probably shouldn't. You're absolutely right. But here's the thing: when you're making, like, I don't recommend. It's all about dosage, right? What is the old pharmacological acronym? The aphorism, rather. The proof makes the poison. The dose makes the poison. The dose makes the poison. Sorry, the Latin. The dose makes the poison, meaning, yes, anything you take, most medicines will kill you at a high enough dose. So, like, don't take that much. So yes, if you put like a drop of 190 proof spirit in your tongue, it's not going to hurt you at all. Now, if you try to drink it like a beer, you're going to hurt yourself. Also, it's not going to taste very good. It's not going to be an enjoyable experience. What's good to have these high proof solutions for is, like, I only use 3/4 of an ounce in this drink with heavy cream and all this other stuff, right? So it's not like I made my old fashioned with 151 proof booze, because it's not the best use of that. And one thing it's really nice to do with high proof spirits is using an extra 1/4 ounce here or like a little bit there in a drink to dry out the drink or to give a deep flavor, but not really take advantage of its high proof.
more for flavor than for proof.
Exactly.
So Shannon, we always like talking with you because you're the only guy I know that can quote the Latin Paracelsus saying that the dose makes the poison. And that's exactly right in medicine. You undershoot, you overshoot.
Yeah.
So one last question from here is about rum. Tell us about the derivation and the splitting between light and dark rums.
Okay, so we'll go back real fast and talk about the two main categories of rum. Hint, 95% of all rums is in the second category. So there's the islands, the islands where they make rum, or the places where they make rum, have all been colonized, right? And then they were turned into sugar plantations, basically. And then whichever colonial empire had that location affected what happened from then on, right? So if you were a French island, specifically Martinique, you made French style rum. So the French style rum is fresh pressed sugarcane. So they have sugarcane. This goes back to Bonaparte owned a bunch of beet plantations. So the French back in France had plenty of sugar, homemade, homegrown with Napoleon's own stuff. So he didn't really want his Caribbean territories saturating the market with sugar. So the French rums are all fresh pressed sugarcane. And they make very different rums. They're very grassy, very herbaceous, really delicious. In fact, Martinique rums are AOC Martinique. AOC is the appellation of origin controllee for you wine lovers. The same people that gave Burgundy the Burgundy AOC stamp gave Martinique the Martinique AOC stamp. So it's the same organization. So that's French style rums. rums, and they're really, really interesting and can be very delicious. That being said, they're like 5% of the market. Everybody else is either Spanish or English style rums. And we had a few of them, different ones that you'd mentioned. The leaner, lighter ones on the tongue that are drier are the Spanish style. The heavier, kind of more sweet ones are, generally speaking, the English style. The English, like the sweet one, should surprise no one. Think of the teeth. So the English did turn their entire Caribbean holdings into one big sugar plantation. There's a 150-year period of history where the average Briton's consumption of sugar increased 100-fold, meaning it doubled 100 times. So it started with only the aristocracy could afford sugar. They'd have like sugar sculptures instead of ice sculptures, just to show the extravagant luxury, till the end of that period where the poorest Britons depended on sugar for almost all or all of their calories. Once again, think of the teeth. So they like sweeter things. So depending on where you go, the Spanish islands have these, like Flor de Caña, or Spanish territories, have these leaner, more like traditional spirit kind of profile rums. So if you're going to use rum to make as a substitute for, say, a whiskey cocktail, a Spanish style rum with some age and some oak on it is a great natural choice. That Flor de Caña 7-year in particular. If you're looking for a rum that you want something softer and sweeter, easier going, those English style rums are gonna really help you. So the main difference between the rum agricole, which is what the French ones are called, and the other ones is the English and Spanish territories don't use fresh pressed sugarcane juice. They use molasses. So basically, the rums from the English and Spanish territories are basically made with industrial waste byproduct of sugar production. And oh, what a delicious use they've come with.
Bravo. Yes, indeed. Okay.
Shannon, do you have another favorite rum hot toddy recipe or drink?
Oh yeah.
There's some molasses.
There's so many you could do. So this is a cream one. This is very different. What rum are you using? Dan?
Thunderbird wine, rum, Dan?
Yeah, Thunderbird.
Is Wild Irish Rose good?
We're using the Flor de Caña.
Flor de Caña. Perfect.
Grand Reserve.
Excellent. Excellent. So Grand Reserve, what year is that?
2023.
Clairvoyant rum.
Future.
You know,
Okay.
Shannon, it's hard to have an upstairs neighbor like that.
It's
Yeah.
a
living hell.
7-year Grand Reserve.
Perfect. I love that product. So
Okay.
basically, if you
All right.
have a hot toddy recipe that you like that calls for bourbon, it would work well. I like, even so. If you, an ounce and a half of that, half an ounce of ginger syrup, maybe a scant 1/4 ounce of fresh lemon juice, a dash or two of Angostura bitters if you want, hot water, and drop a lemon in.
Okay. Good.
Real simple. You can even, if you don't want it to be that fancy, you could just use a little honey. Not too
Yes.
much. Honey dominates. The ginger is really my favorite.
And Shannon, I think the white rum that I have is good for my mojitos, right?
I think the white rum is perfect. So white rum, I'm sorry, that was the actual question, wasn't it? I'm good at not answering questions, but in very long format. White rum is Havana rum, basically. It's what happened when we had a lot of touristas coming in to Havana in the 20s through the 60s, but really hitting its stride in the 30s. And white rum, Americans post prohibition kind of lost their taste for very flavorful spirits. So what the Cubans did was dumb down the rum they drank themselves for the American audience. So they started making this white rum style, this Havana rum style, which white rum is. And white rum's very interesting as a spirit because it was actually a barrel-aged spirit that they would filter the color back out. Usually, there's a big kerfuffle these days in rums, whether they add caramel coloring or not. They do. Some of them don't. That Florida Cognac does not. Barbados, Jamaica, very little, and just for consistency in the store. But like this, they're like banking on caramel coloring. Aged spirits, barrel-aged spirits generally get their color from the barrel. That's the big deal. All those whiskeys, American whiskeys, bourbons and ryes you see on the shelf, the color is from the barrel. It's illegal to add any coloring.
Nice.
Well, rum, it's not illegal. But what rum was doing at the time, or the folks in Cuba were doing at the time, was trying to satisfy the desire of American tourists who'd lost their taste for flavorful spirits and were starting to drink more and more vodka and less of everything else. So they basically made their rum look like vodka.
Interesting.
And perhaps the history says that marketing and companies won the day. Whoever marketed hard got your wallet.
Exactly. So in 1939, a guy who made his money selling Americans A1 steak sauce bought the rights to a brand called Smirnoff and introduced America to a thing called vodka. And he made a lot of money. So the thing about vodka is if you make it, you can sell it. You're done. There's no more art to it. In fact, the less distinct it is, the better people talk about it. It's, you look at the brags on bottles of vodka. It's distilled 10 times, filtered a gazillion times. So all of that is interesting and good if you don't want to taste what you're drinking. But we like to taste what we're drinking. And speaking of what we're drinking, next month, we're doing a barrel-aged gin class. Even if you're afraid of gin, I beg of you to sign up. We're doing a barrel-aged gin with the new barrel-aged product from a Durham distillery, which I have a bottle at the house. I'm not telling you to do this at home, but I drink it neat. It's delicious. They proofed it down. It's basically the Navy strength, barrel aged for 10 months in old High West bourbon barrels.
Right.
For the High West fan in the group. And they proofed it down to like London dry strength, about 94 proof. And it's just easy. It's soft and easy, but it still tastes like gin. Like you can tell it's gin. But we'll do stuff with it that gin lovers will like, and folks that think they don't like gin, they're wrong. They don't yet like gin.
No,
How can you not
I
like
agree.
gin?
At what percent
Well said.
alcohol, Shannon, at what percent alcohol does it become flammable?
101, I think. But
Okay.
so there's ways to get around that. Like it depends on what you mean. But if you're just like lighting a shot on fire, if you're just lighting a shot on fire, it's a little north of 100. So, but you might have to keep the lighter on it for a minute. And what you're doing is burning off enough water till it hits the right proof.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Shannon, is it your recommendation to refrigerate your syrups and bitters, or does it make any?
Just the syrups.
No, not bitters, just syrups.
Just syrups. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting the time's up sign here. Any
Okay.
other questions before I?
Professor, thank you for sharing your knowledge base with us.
Thank you so much. I'm going to dip off here. Thank you all for being here, but we're going to leave it open for a while for those of you who want to chit chat, catch up with friends and family from afar. we'll keep it up for a goodly bit. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have
Appreciate
a
it.
future as a chef on TV.
Oh,
Look
yes.
forward to being your support.
Bye.
Good job.
Was that
Good man. Good man. Okay. All right.
Hi, Roxanne. Hi, Dan.
So
Hi.
Lee and Fraser, have you experienced the full Shannon before?
Oh,
No, you're on mute.
you're mute.
No. We're on mute. Hey,
Unmute.
Yeah, she's doing it. There she is. No, she can't hear her. Yeah.
okay.
I'll text her.
Well, we're looking forward to our family Zoom. Tomorrow, Roxanne, I'm going to call you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Chris.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
So-
off. She's off mute now.
Merry Christmas, y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay.
So Lee,
So,
can you hear us?
No, he's saying.
No.
You can't,
Okay.
we can't hear her
Right.
Aw.
for whatever reason. We'll transmit the
I'll
text
text her.
messages.
What are you asking
She's
her?
texting right now.
Oh.
Oh, Lee sent us a link to another Zoom,
Okay.
and you guys too. Right?
All right.
It may just be you guys. I didn't get it.
She may have called in late.
I'll give it to you.
It may be an email.
Hold on, it's an email. Hold on.
Well, you have to have the link, sweetie.
I'm gonna give it to her.
Oh,
Okay?
got it.
Lee, do you have it?
I do not.
We're down to 4 participants.
Oh, to you and Sullivan. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go to another link. I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, Dan has it. Hey,
I'll forward
can
it.
you, wait a minute, hold
I'll
on.
forward it to
Wait.
them.
I gotta tell you this.
Okay. So,
Pete, do you realize I am an unofficial doctor?
Well,
Okay,
tell
tell
us
us more.
more.
All of your doctor emails, they have gone into when you send your stuff to me. Dan doesn't get it, but Doctors Unite, what's medical economics. I'm like, what the heck is I just delete.
And what's more, she's been nominated for the Nobel Prize already.
okay. Woohoo! There's
All right,
a,
we're
you don't know.
Okay,
we're gonna close out and go to the other Zoom.
we'll
link.
go to the other Zoom
Love
link.
for you
All right,
guys.
just so you know, Norway does the prize for peace based on enthusiasm. Roxanne is in.
And we're gonna close out and go to the other Zoom link.
Okay.
You got it, Keith?
I'm working on it.